Every day, we pointlessly throw away heaps of leftovers and food scraps. With a tiny bit of ingenuity, you could regrow them. Let's find out which ones you can regrow now. To regrow your store-bought veggies and herbs, gather some spare containers and purchase a potting mix. To ensure happy, healthy plants, make sure you have a space with a lot of natural sunlight, or consider purchasing grow lights. Growing and harvesting your own food allows you to create amazing dishes while saving money. In a short amount of time, you'll have your own organic garden completely free of unknown pesticides or additives. Plus, you'll have an unlimited supply of fresh produce from the comfort of your own home. Let's begin with ginger. Get a large chunk of ginger and break it into smaller pieces, making sure each chunk has an eye or growth bud. Soak the ginger in water overnight, then plant the chunks into potting mix with the eyes facing up. Water the ginger regularly, and after 1 month, shoots will appear, and more ginger will grow. Since ginger is a tropical plant, they enjoy warm weather, filtered sun, humidity, and rich soil. Once your ginger is about 8 to 10 months old, it'll be time to harvest. Pull the ginger up, trim it a bit to use, and repeat the process. Next, we have spring onions. These veggies regenerate extremely quickly. All you do is slice off the bottom white bulbs, leaving the roots attached, and place them into water. Make sure you place the roots downward in water while the top can have room to grow. Place your spring onions near a window and change the water weekly. Once the shoots are 4 to 5 inches long, you can plant them into soil and enjoy your unlimited supply of spring onions. Another flavorful veggie you can regrow are green onions. If you have regular yellow or white onions at home, you can grow green onions from them. Get a small flat piece off the top of your onions and soak them in water for 24 hours. Make sure you place the onions in a sunny spot. Once you see roots forming, plant the onions into potting soil. Water your onions regularly and watch green onions appear from the top. Leeks are another easy vegetable that you can regrow. The process of growing leeks is like growing onions. It's very easy. Simply take some leeks and make sure their roots are facing downwards. Place them in a container with water, then put them in a spot with ample sunshine. Watch your leeks regrow and let the magic of nature happen. Change the water weekly and trim off what you need for cooking. Next up, garlic. Using garlic in your cooking significantly reduces blood pressure, and it's easily regrown indoors. Take your garlic bulb stored away in your fridge and break it into cloves. Put the cloves into a container with a small amount of water. Make sure the pointy end is up and the root or base of the clove is in the water. Place the garlic in a lighted area for about 7 days. Sprouts will begin growing from the top and roots should appear. Just transfer your cloves into soil and continue watering. Then harvest the garlic in about 6 to 9 months. You'll know when they're ready, as half the leaves would have wilted and died. Potatoes are just as easy to regrow. Just make sure to plant them in a spot that receives a lot of sunlight throughout the day. The potatoes will grow from the growth eyes, so you should prepare them before planting. Smaller ones can be planted whole, but larger ones with multiple sprouts can be cut into multiple pieces. Let them dry for a day or two and then transfer the potato chunks to your soil with the eyes facing upward. One potato can produce about 5 to 10 potatoes depending on the type and care you provide. They will be ready to harvest when the leaves turn yellow and start to wilt over. You can also regrow sweet potatoes, but they require a little more work. But for the extra work, you get more nutrition. To start, place toothpicks or kebab skewers around the sweet potato. Then identify the ends. The pointy end is the top, and the blunt end is the bottom. Place the blunt end of the potato in a container with water. The potato should be slightly submerged, while the top has room to breathe. Sit the potato on a sunny windowsill. Change out the water every few days and wait for the roots to grow about 4 inches. Once that occurs, you'll be left with sweet potato slips that can be broken off the sweet potato and transferred into your garden or pot. Carrots are another veggie that you can grow at home, and they help prevent cardiovascular diseases. Cut off the tops of your carrots, keeping about 1 inch left, and stick 3 toothpicks in each one you want to plant. Place these into separate containers, slightly submerging the bottom of each one with water. Roots will begin to grow in about a week, and so will the carrot's leaves. The leaves are also edible and can be added to salads or another food of your choice. Once roots look strong and healthy, transfer your carrots into potting soil. Plant them facing down and the stems side up. Lettuce can be a great addition to your homemade dishes, and it follows the same growing process as carrots. All you do is chop the tip of the vegetable, leaving about 2 inches of white bulb at the bottom. Place the chunk in a container with water, and within a week, roots will appear. Once there are some happy growing roots, place in a pot with your potting mix. Water regularly and watch the leaves to gauge the amount of water they enjoy. If they wilt, you're overfeeding. If they look dry or burned, you may be underfeeding or giving them too much sun. Keep in mind that the darker the lettuce greens, the more nutritious it is. Celery is another healthy vegetable you can regrow easily. Just like lettuce, chop off the bottom of the stalk, leaving about 2 inches at the base. Place the celery into water, making sure the bottom is face down. Place in a sunny area and roots will begin to grow. Once there are multiple 4-inch long roots, plant your celery into soil. After 2 to 3 months, you can celebrate a mature stalk that's ready to harvest. Next up, fennel. This vegetable has a similar taste to licorice, and you can grow this in your indoor garden. To regrow fennel, the roots must remain intact. From here, chop the plant so there's about 1 inch left of the base. This is what we will regrow. Put the base into water and place the fennel into direct sunlight. When a strong system of roots grows, transfer your fennel into a deep pot with soil. Keep it well watered and you'll be able to harvest it periodically. Now for turnips, which are packed with vitamins and easy to regrow. Typically, with turnips, you'll eat the root and throw the leafy part away, but that kitchen scrap can be upcycled. To grow your own, salvage the top of the turnip and place it in a container with water. Just like carrots, you'll notice new greenery forming at the top. Within a week or so, roots will begin growing from the bottom. After this, transplant your root veggie and from there, will grow back into something worth harvesting. For most people, space is an issue, so if you don't have the space for vegetables, then perhaps you should try growing fresh herbs instead. For most herbs, it's easy. All you need to do is take a cutting, place it in water, and then harvest whenever your recipe needs it. It really is that easy. Let's begin with basil. It's very easy to propagate this herb. Simply take a few cuttings from your store-bought plant and make sure the stem only has a few basil leaves at the top. The basil plant enjoys sunlight and warmth, but make sure they aren't directly in the sun. Change the water daily so that the stems don't rot. In a few weeks, roots should grow. From here, plant it into your well-draining pot. Next, we have mint. This aromatic herb is calming and soothing with a unique taste. Go ahead and take a mint cutting from your fridge and select 4 to 5 green healthy stems. Leave about 3 to 4 inches of the stem and trim the rest. Remove the excess leaves, but keep a couple on top connected. Then simply place your mint in an area with gentle sunlight in a confined area such as a raised bed. Roots will appear in 7 to 10 days. Then you can plant your starters into a pot. Next up, cilantro. This herb can be regrown from the bushel you bought at the supermarket. Again, use the stems that are green and remove any leaves that are growing down the stem. Place your herb cutting into water and place it on a windowsill or by an area that has sun. Allow 2 to 4 weeks for the roots to grow, then plant it into a pot. Now for rosemary. This perennial herb can grow all year long indoors. Plus, starting with your kitchen cuttings grant higher success rates than trying to start your own from a seed. Select the best looking shoots from your fridge that are green in color and not woody, and then snip them off. Slide your thumb and pointer finger down the stem to remove rosemary leaves, but keep a few remaining on the top. Place the cuttings in a container with water and place in a warm spot away from direct sunlight. Remember to switch the water every other day to prevent the stem from rotting. In about 4 to 8 weeks, roots will grow. Then, move the rosemary plant to soil and harvest it whenever required. Another extremely popular herb is thyme. Choose a stem that is slightly green in color instead of brown. Remove all the lower leaves and cut the stem at a 45-degree angle. Then, simply place them into a container with water. In 2 to 3 weeks, roots will appear and you can plant these cuttings into potting soil. You'll never run out of thyme again. Now for an equally delicious herb that requires a little more patience, oregano. It's slow growing, but worth it. Take your oregano and snip cuttings from your source. For best results, make sure the bottom stems are clear of oregano leaves and keep some attached at the top. Place the cuttings in water and in a very sunny area. Wait for the roots to appear and then transplant it into soil. Regularly pinching off leaves will encourage more growth from your oregano plant. Sage also takes time to develop roots as it's drought tolerant. The hooked leaf ends are meant to prevent water loss. First, if there are any leaves on the stem, remove them. Trim the bottom of the stem at a 45-degree angle and place cuttings into a container with water. It'll take about 4 to 5 weeks for it to grow roots. Once the roots have grown, transfer your sage to a pot. The best part about gardening indoors is that you reap a non-stop harvest. It's a blast to experiment with various kitchen scraps, and you're reducing your carbon footprint while you're at it. So, will you try regrowing any of these vegetables and herbs? Let me know how you get along in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching.